The micro, small and medium scale enterprises, or MSME sector, is the backbone of any major developed economy. The sector contributes to the employment reduction, economic and export growth. In South Africa, the continent's most industrialized economy, MSMEs account for 91% of businesses, 60% of employment, and 52% of the total GDP. In Nigeria, the continent's largest economy, MSMEs contribute 48% of national GDP. They are 96% of businesses and account for 84% of employment. Despite the significant contribution of MSMEs to the Nigerian economy and elsewhere, challenges still persist that hinder the growth and development of the sector. According to the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises contributed about 48% to the national GDP in the last 5 years. With a total number of about 17.4 million, they account for about 50% of industrial jobs and nearly 90% of the manufacturing sector in terms of number of enterprises. Across the world, countries will be celebrating SMEs who are critical to their economies. The United Nations General Assembly declared June 27th as Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day to raise public awareness of their contribution to sustainable development and the global economy. Today, we'll talk to two entrepreneurs who will share their experiences in running SMEs. Our focus today is the realities of running a business. I'm Tolulokwe Adelere Balogun. Welcome. This is Business Edge. Now, joining me from Lagos, Nigeria, is Fegho Umunobu. He is the CEO of Extreme Minds Solutions, a brand and marketing communications agency. And hopefully our second guest will also be able to join us from Benin Republic, Linda Ayodele Oyin. She is the president of the Women's Impact Network and works with women on building their businesses in particular. Fegho, let me start with you. You've been running your business for a while now. Let's start with getting things off the ground. In terms of the processes, registration, license, taxes, all of these things that that are part of the kitty before a business takes off, what was the process like for you, and what were the issues that you encountered in that time?
Okay, thank you once again for having me. In terms of process and registration and all of that, I won't say I actually encounter any issue while I was trying to register the business. It was a bit straightforward, and probably I had information beforehand how long it was going to take to register the business. So I think it took close to a month, to finish the whole process, the CAC process, and all of that. So I'll just say that it was a smooth process.
Okay, so Linda, for you, you work with small and medium-scale businesses. You also work with women in particularly to get their business off the ground. In terms of starting businesses, what are the issues you've seen as a consultant?
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Linda.
Hear me?
Yes, please, go on.
Okay. It's the lack of knowledge on legal issues and financial needs that will help them to register properly their activities. And today we notice that women, they start a business that can help them to live a day-to-day life. They don't really project to grow the business and grow it out of the country, even.
All right, some technical issues there, but I'm very sure Linda will be back with us in just a bit. So, Fegho, let me go back to you now. We've seen the global pandemic this year unfortunately affect every sector of the society. In terms of the business that you do and the business that you started, tell us a little bit about how the COVID-19 pandemic affected your business.
Okay, so most of when I hear that question, I smile because I think almost every business has experienced the effect of COVID, and for us, it was hard. Yeah, it was hard because most of our clients had to cut down budgets because of what was happening to them, and there was even a scenario where our major clients had to cut budgets close to 65% So imagine the effect of that. And it was terrible for us because we couldn't do some of the things that we would normally do, so in terms of staffing and all of that. So because of that cut, we had to reduce staff. We had to look for other ways to create more value because it's not their fault. COVID is affecting everyone. They're also losing money. So you can't ask a client to give you what they don't have at that point. So from our end, we had to look for other ways to create value for them and also increase our client base because it was reality. And we had to look for any way to be able to continue business because it's either you adjust or you're out of business. Like I said, one of the ways that we did that was we looked in-house and we asked ourselves some questions. What are the departments that we can do without? But when COVID started, there were some operations, there were some services that we couldn't render because of the restriction when it comes to physical and physical activities and all of that. So we had to look in-house and see what are the different areas that we could cut down costs. And it was a difficult decision. And like I said, I always say, for a CEO and the head of a business, it's always a difficult decision to have to let people go. But that's the reality because the business is the priority. You have to ensure that the business survives. And we have to make some of those very difficult decisions, look for ways to reduce administrative costs. What are the other ways that we could add more values? Are the ways that we could bring in more clients? Are there new services? And one of the good things is that COVID actually exposed us to new opportunities too. Even the fact that there were some negative effects, it also exposed us to new opportunities. So those are areas that we also look for ways to tap into, see how we can create new products and digital products and all of that to drive our revenue back again. So it was a difficult period for us, and I think a lot of businesses to experience the same.
So what is it like now? So you talked about the fact that you did also have to lay off people during that time, but now you're in a situation where things seemingly are picking up across sectors. Are you back to sort of expanding to the numbers you had before the COVID-19 pandemic, or are you deciding to take things a bit more slowly?
So I think it's going to be difficult for us to get back to normal at this stage. And for me, I'm thinking probably it might extend to next year because even this client, you're still getting advice from them too that you might not get that same budget that you're used to. So it's going to be a gradual process. So even for us, in terms of staff number too, I think it's also going to be a gradual process too. And I don't see that happening immediately, having to bring back growth to that level that we're set probably to create new products or new services. But I think it's a gradual process. And I think it's something that probably lasts to the end of the year also. So because you also, whatever you do is a reflection of what the client has to offer in terms of budgets and kind of activities that it wants to do. We check most organizations, right? They're looking for ways to run with lean budgets. There's some activities that probably they will just close their eyes and get into. But right now, everybody's trying to, let's look for ways to manage our costs. Let's look for ways to reduce and all of that. So I think it's going to be a gradual process.
Okay, so Ayodele, you're back with us now, and I know part of the work that you do is to consult with government and international organizations to design programs that better empower business owners, particularly with a focus on businesses owned by women. Do you think that there are challenges that women face in starting businesses that are different from men?
Women and the way they perceive men is different. So we have all those cultural charges that enable women to do what they really want to do, because we still have sectors that people call men sectors. So women are not always free to do what they want to do. But what I can say about that is that the COVID-19 is a great opportunity for women to show what they are able to do, because on small businesses who continue to create and value and serve where those big firms close.
So I asked Feho before you came back about how COVID-19 had affected the business that he's running. So in terms of those you have worked with, particularly the women, how did COVID-19 affect their businesses in the past 1 year?
because it was small businesses. So now that everything is online, they use social media opportunities, consultants online, influencer, even they product, they market it online. And because we have more, 4 times people who were on their product to people who buy from them. And we have many programs with Facebook, Google, and YouTube that empower entrepreneurs on how they can communicate on their product and services to get more customers online.
All right, so we'll take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk about interventions and the recommendations that my guests would have for how governments can help SMEs in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Benin Republic, across the continent grow. Because without them, Africa's progress will be lacking. We'll pick up this thread of the conversation when we return. This is Business Edge, and we're still talking about the realities of running a small and medium-scale enterprise ahead of June 27th, which is being commemorated as the Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprise Day across the world. Let's get into the next part of this conversation. Fego, let me come back to you. So we heard about a number of interventions from Nigeria's government in terms of the COVID response. Now, the CBN said they dispersed 253 billion naira to about 548,000 beneficiaries, comprising 470,000 plus households and more than 77,000 small and medium enterprises across the country. So let's put this against how many SMEs are in Nigeria. According to SMEs National Survey of 2017, there are about 41.5 million SMEs in Nigeria. So let me ask you this. Did you receive any support, any of this financial intervention? Do you know anyone that did? What do you think about this type of intervention, especially in the face of COVID-19, and how it can actually or maybe not help small and medium-sized businesses?
Okay, so I'm going to start with this. First of all, I think it's the right thing to do for the government to give support to businesses, not just Nigeria. I think across other countries too. I see what other countries do, like the US and all of that, how they try to support small businesses. Now, coming back to Nigeria, so I've heard that this news, I've heard a lot of this information and all that. And the feedback that I get is that even though this announcement are made, they're on TV and all of that, it's difficult for people to assess this. I've never applied for them because I don't believe that all those things are accessible, even though they say all of this wonderful stuff and all that. I think it's still difficult for people to assess this. When in digital age, I think all of those things should be digitalized. People should have access to them. I've heard a lot of people complain that even when they applied, after several months, they're not even able to get some of this facilities. So I don't know who has gotten it. I don't know how many businesses have gotten it. Like I said at the beginning, I think it's the right thing to do because government needs to support the small businesses. And like what you said in your numbers, you see the number of people that have been employed by small and medium scale businesses. So I think it's the right direction. But in terms of assessing those facilities, that's where I have challenges with them. So
Okay.
Not just saying it, to ensure that this is available to this business owner. For me, I've never applied because I don't believe that this is accessible, even though they say it out there.
Interesting. And let me just add to this. We heard that the organized private sector recently actually raised concerns about the inability of manufacturers and businesses to access various interventions amounting to 1 trillion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So apparently 1 trillion naira that's meant for manufacturers and businesses in Nigeria remains unused and unaccessed. Some have said it's a publicity issue, some have said it's a bureaucracy issue, but eventually we have to deal with that. And this is where I want to bring Ayodele back into the conversation. Ayodele, you work with governments, you work with the international organizations that are putting these funds out there, these donor funds, that are creating these programs for women entrepreneurs, for small-scale businesses as well. What can governments do to support SMEs even more?
Okay. I think government are doing what they can do. So it's our of Nigeria. We have European Union who gave a lot of money to different programs. I don't know if they give it directly to the government, but we can see the program Tony Elumelu of UBA Group, the founder of UBA Group, who is trying to empower more youth. So it's the responsibility of SME to put themselves together so they can have power and have a seat on the table of decision. It's our role to put ourselves together and have strong leaders in front, and they can discuss for us. We have a lot of money who are coming in on the continent, and I can share one project that can help SMEs is the Platform Capital in Nigeria, a project by Dr. Akintoye Akindele. So it's a project of a big incubator that will open the doors in Nigeria. I think they did it 3 weeks ago, in Ghana also, and in South Africa, and in America. So it's to our ways, and with them, we will be more stronger to address the government. I think it's what I can say.
Okay, so Ayodele, let me quickly stay with you. We're seeing more direct intervention aimed at helping women start small businesses and get into the SME sector. Do you think we're also seeing progress being made? Have you seen more women show interest, more young women want to pick up the entrepreneurial mantle? Are more women running business and sustaining them past the 3 to 5 year mark? We see that many small businesses can either make or break themselves. Are you seeing progress being made in that regard?
Yes, there is a lot of progress, and what I can see is that we need role model. We need people that we can see and know that, okay, they are not in politics. They are not a son or daughter of this politician, but they can be successful, and that inspire more women to do their best and believe in the work. I think our problem is faith. If we give up on the system, we cannot make it. So we need to keep faith, to keep believing that it will be good and do our part. Women are doing well. The last 2 years in Benin and even in Nigeria, business owner I work with, they even double, they shift their fare, the money they make from the business.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they adapt to the craze, to the COVID, and they change their strategy.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up now, but I have a question to put to the both of you. So the future of Africa's economic development and progress is tied to the SME sector. Employment, the turnover, contributions to GDP are simply not something that any African country can ignore when it comes to small and medium-scale businesses. But it can be daunting to start a business anywhere. And we've seen that SMEs across the continent can fold up within 3 to 5 years of starting operations. Fego, let me start with you as we wrap up on this. What are the top 5 things, I guess I would say, that you think somebody starting an SME needs to take into consideration before they enter a market?
So first, I'll say do a proper research of whatever business you want to get into. And I say this because I've seen that a lot of businesses make that mistake. They just get into business without doing proper research of the business they want to get into. Understand the market, understand who are the competitors, understand the people that are operating in that business. That's one. The second, so this is from personal experience. I think one of the reasons why a lot of businesses don't survive, or after some year they collapse, is because there's no actual accountability process. So you just want to run the business and make all the decisions and all that. I'm not saying that if you cannot afford the board, then get an individual that you can be accountable to. And for me, it's something that has helped my business to grow, because I've seen the level of growth that I've experienced, and that happened when I was able to set up the board, and I know that there's that accountability system there. Secondly, we need to pay attention to our books. So in terms of, because I see that a lot of businesses, as they make revenue and all that, they don't document these things down. And when you don't document it, you can't measure growth. So I think it's key too. And there are a lot of applications online that you can get for free without having to pay some. That's if you don't even have money to even get a consultant, get some of this application. Then the fourth one, start small start as lean as possible. You can grow from there. I know the whole temptation of you want to employ probably 10 or 20 people for the start. But you can start small and grow from there. Progress is still progress. The last one, like I said, ensure you get your marketing strategy right, because you can get your marketing strategy right after you've done all of this four stuff. I think then your business will be out there. Then you can experience growth.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Ayodele, I'll have to ask you to make it 3 instead, unfortunately, because of time. But what are the top 3 things you think business owners should keep in mind as they want to start a business?
They need to know that in the first year, they won't make profits. It will be tough. They have to separate their financial money, their personal money to the business money. So that means they need to educate themselves on financial literacy. The third point is the legal. You have to know the legal aspect of what maintain your domain. And fourth, you have to have a good network. Your network is your net worth. If you are in a good network, you will be aware of good opportunity that will help you and continue to learn.
All right. A big thank you to my guest. I had joining me Ayodele Onyi. She's the president of the Women's Impact Network, and she joined us from Benin Republic. We also had Fego Umonobu, who is the CEO of Extreme Minds Solution, who joined us from here in Lagos. We have NC4 to watch for you as we wrap things up, so stay with me. And wrapping up today's show, here are a few stories that we're keeping our eyes on. We start on the eastern part of the continent, where Sudan's Financial Markets Authority Director General Shagi Amzi has announced that the launch of a gold exchange in Sudan will help regulate trading in the yellow metal and eliminate the smuggling that has led to a scarcity of foreign currency. Now, in 2019, over 100 tons of Sudanese gold was traded on foreign exchanges, while official statistics from the central bank showed that Sudanese production amounted to only 20 tons. The African Development Bank president, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, says that the COVID-19 pandemic caused $190 billion in losses to the African economy. He noted that the pandemic forced 30 million people into poverty, while another 39 million people could be poor by the end of 2021. The bank has announced a $10 billion crisis response facility. Google has rolled out 3 programs worth $6 million seeking to support women, young entrepreneurs, and innovators in at least 13 countries. They launched a $3 million fund, the Black Founders Fund for Africa, which is expected to benefit 50 budding startups in countries like Botswana, Cameroon, Tanzania, South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Zimbabwe, and others. And finally, the Central Bank of Kenya accepted bids worth 16.6 billion Kenyan shillings at the weekly Treasury bills auction out of 25.3 billion Kenyan shillings received from investors, an oversubscription of 105.62%. The next auction and bids closure is July the 1st, and results will be announced the next day. The actual amount raised will depend on the liquidity requirements of the Monetary Authority for the week. And as we head into the weekend, those are a few stories we're keeping our eyes on. I'll be back Monday morning, 11 a.m. West African time, with the financial, economic, and business conversations from here on the continent. Stay with us throughout the day and throughout the weekend. Download our mobile app on the Play Store and App Store. Take us with you wherever you go. And of course, go to our websites, go to our YouTube channel, and watch us live on StarTimes 274. I'm Tolu Lokwe at Dileru Balogun. You have a fantastic weekend.